Small study, we're talking 24 people, but the results were good. How would you characterize them?
Yes, this is a very exciting results. It's a phase 1 study. It's like another mRNA vaccine, just like the Moderna vaccine. They did 3 doses, a 10 microgram, a 30 microgram, and a 100 microgram. It was the lower doses that were tolerated. The 100 microgram was that was not well tolerated. So somewhere between 10 and 30 will be the dose going forward. They gave two injections that were well tolerated. And most importantly, in both lower doses, they saw neutralizing antibodies against the binding protein, the spike protein, that were many times higher than those seen in people that have recovered from coronavirus. So that is really very, very encouraging and gives the go-ahead to now start the phase 2 study, which they're starting next week, and pretty soon to start the phase 3 study, the efficacy study. So again, it's another exciting vaccine together with the Moderna and the AstraZeneca that are moving forward at a rapid speed to a phase 3.
Can you say tonight definitively who's in the lead in the race for a vaccine?
You know, it's I mean, this is a baseball game, and we're in the bottom of the second. It's hard to know who's in the lead. I mean, people are beginning to have some hits, and people are beginning to score some runs, but we have a long way to go. I think, you know, the proof is in the pudding will be in the phase 3, and the phase 3 is really where you know the efficacy of the vaccine. That's when really you know the vaccine, yes, produces neutralizing antibodies, but are those neutralizing antibodies protected? Do they protect from infection? Do they protect from disease? I think it's too early to say. I think at this point in time, all vaccines are about at the same level, but the issue is going to be what's going to happen when we have the results of the phase 3.
Can we get to use your analogy to baseball, can we get to the 9th inning by the end of this year?
I think so. I think there's a lot of push to get done. And I think also we're seeing something totally unprecedented, which is the government has partnered through BARDA with the companies to start producing this vaccine. So millions of doses of these vaccines are going to start to be produced before we know if they're effective. So by the time we have the result, it's not going to be, oh, now we have to produce millions of doses. They can just pull them out and use them. So my guess is that maybe it's not going to be one vaccine. We may have 2, we may have 3, we may have 4 that actually are effective. And that in a way is good. You know, Dr. Fauci has said that we need a lot of shots on goal, but we also need a lot of those shots to be goals. So the more vaccines we have that are effective, the better we're going to be, because vaccinating, 300 million people in the U.S., vaccinating, 6-7 billion people around the world is not going to be an easy task.
What's a realistic time frame to be able to do that? I know you just said, and we know we're producing these doses as we're testing them so we can ramp up production. But what's realistic to think when we're actually going to be able to be vaccinating large numbers of people?
So I think there's a hopeful and there's a realistic. The hopeful is we know the results in sometime in November, December. Some people say we may know them in October. People want to say this will be the October surprise right before the election saying we have a vaccine. But we'll know the results sometime around there. And then, they're going to start to roll it out to first, to frontline workers, health workers, to frontline personnel, to military, and probably somewhere in healthcare workers, and probably somewhere in the spring to the fall to the summer of next year, we will start vaccinating at a population level. I think that's the optimistic look. The realistic look is I think we're still about a year away before we can actually say we're beginning to really do broad vaccination programs.